It doesn't say no swimming. Oh darn, I forgot my swimsuit. So let's ride a bike instead. For today's video, I have the Cycrown Dremax. First, I'm gonna show the bike in the wild. After that, I'm gonna quickly unbox it and assemble it. So if you're just here for the assembly instructions, that's at the end of the video. The screen might be doing something wonky right now because of the frame rate, but it doesn't do that in real life. So I got it on pedal assist 5. I'm gonna do throttle only. Let's see how fast it goes. And it's just this little lever right here. And I might fast forward through this depending on how quick it goes. So yeah, the frame rate on my camera is doing that to the screen. You're not going to be able to see anything. I'm sorry. I'm filming in 4K and I thought I had it on the best setting, and it might be. The top speed throttle only is 20 miles per hour. Now I'm going to change it to pedaling, pedal assist 5. So, yeah, again, you're not going to be able to see the speed. Maybe, just maybe. Right here, you can kind of see it goes to like 25 miles per hour. So if you pedal as hard as you possibly can, it does reach 28 miles per hour. This bike is so new, I barely have any specs on it, but I can tell just from using it that this does not have a cheap cadence sensor. It has a torque sensor because the harder I pedal, the faster the bike goes. If you prefer the motor to do most of the work for you, that would be a cadence sensor. It doesn't respond to how hard you're pedaling, just as long as you're pedaling, it will go the speed for each pedal assist mode. Torque sensors are more money, so once that's on there, the price is usually high, but it's actually not that bad on this bike for what you're getting. Full retail price is listed at $1,599. Pre-orders are currently $1,349. And if I get any coupon codes, I will be sure to put those in the video's description. And I might pin them to the comments as well. This bike is equipped with a Shimano 8-speed gear shift system. And because it has a torque sensor, I definitely needed to use the gears. Because oftentimes with e-bikes I don't, but with torque sensors I do. The Dremax does not have suspension in the back, but it does have some pretty decent suspension in the front. So here it is open for a more bouncy ride, and I'm filming this while people are staring at me wondering what the heck I'm doing. And with the flip of the switch or lever, I can have a far more rigid ride. I do feel like I need a running start, but I'm gonna try to tackle this hill. This one I believe is around 20 degrees. Let's go straight up. Oh, nice. That wasn't even much of a running start. In the center of the rear wheel is the motor. It's 500 watts with a peak of 750 watts. This is a brushless gear hub motor. It is powered by a 48 volt 15 ampere hour battery. Oh yeah, and I should probably mention it has a maximum 60 Newton meters of torque. I'm helping them so bikes don't run them over. And don't come for me on this. I only test the bikes like once or twice. This time I actually rode it 2 days in a row, but I've only done about 12 miles in total. So it's got pedal assist 1 to 5, and also there's 0, so you can use it like a regular bike. You don't have to use the motor if you don't want to. If you have it on pedal assist 1, flat paved ground, just perfectly even, no wind, and I don't want to fat shame anyone. You don't weigh 330 pounds. The max mileage that you're gonna get out of this, the max range, is about 65 miles. And the reason I say 330 pounds is because that is the max payload of this bike. If you're using it in full electric mode and just sitting there like a lump, at most you're gonna get about half that, maybe a little more than half that mileage. To turn on the bike, you don't need the key. The key is just for removing the battery. Hold down the center button. And then to turn it off, same thing, just hold down that center button. So right now I got it on pedal assist 0, no assistance from the motor, it's just a regular bike. To adjust that, I can use the plus and minus buttons right here. So the most is 5, you're gonna get the most assistance from the motor, and then the least is 1. This is the light button, and you just click it. You don't have to hold it down, just click on and off. And then by clicking M, it'll show you various information on the screen. Oh yeah, and it also has walk assist mode. So you just hold down the minus button the motor will kick in and you can walk slowly next to the bike. For an e-bike, this is definitely on the lighter side. The total weight is about 65.2 pounds. A lot of them are like 80, even past 100. So I find that I do have to use the motor, but with the weight of this one, I had no issues using it without the motor. On a lower gear, of course, but I didn't feel like I had to use the motor. With a 110-pound bike, I definitely feel like I must use the motor. Brake test? Let's do a brake test. There's so many people out here. It's really hard to do a brake test. They just keep coming one after another. So I did not get it to full speed, unfortunately, but the brakes work really good. This has hydraulic disc brakes, so they use fluid to stop instead of a cable, which makes them more responsive, but they are a little bit more maintenance. Did I mention I'm filming this while sick? I got a cold or I think it was a cold, I don't know. Started with sore throat, then muscle aches for like 3 days, and now just mucus everywhere. I keep having to stop every 5-10 minutes, and just, there's so much. I have to blow my nose constantly. How's the helmet head? Pretty good. I feel, and I think I look pretty disgusting. But anyways, the bike. The Dremax. Overall, it was a pretty good riding experience. I don't know how I feel about taking this bike off-road. There is no rear suspension, so I would definitely like to see that maybe in a future model. The front suspension is pretty good. I would say this is more of a city commuter, maybe light off-road, like flat ground with grass on it, but I wouldn't do anything too crazy bumpy. I do like the torque sensor. It is more of a workout, that's for sure. It feels more like a real bicycle. I have more control over it. The torque sensor came in handy today. It is a busy day on this bike trail. I know you can't tell because I try to film in between groups of people, but it's Sunday and there's a lot of people here. So I find it's extremely helpful to be able to pedal faster and get around people, especially when I see oncoming traffic heading my way. So I want to beat that and get around the people walking before I get stuck behind them. With a cadence sensor, I would not feel comfortable doing that. I usually just end up slowing down and kind of waiting for the oncoming traffic to pass. Since the Dremax is super new and I'm getting it before the pre-sale, so there isn't much information on the website. There wasn't a manual with it either. So I asked the company what the height range is for it, and I'm not sure if this was a typo or not, but listen to this. The recommended height is 5'4" to 8'3". I don't know. Maybe they meant 6'3". I think they might have meant 6'3". I love bikes with huge wheels. These are 27.5 inches, and as a taller lady at 5'8", I don't feel crammed on bikes with big wheels. And the seat is just right for my tushy. No pain there. Next up is my cheesy outro, and then after that I'm gonna unbox the bike and assemble it. If you're interested in the Dremax, I'll have a link down below in the video's description, and I'll also probably pin it to the comments as well. And that's it. I gotta go home because I ran out of tissues. I brought tons and they're drenched. And now it's cheesy outro time. Doodaloo-dee-loo. I'll see you in the next one. Quick release. Oh, I'm not seeing any instructions. Sometimes I don't get them because the bike is that new that they haven't made the instructions yet. Charger, and if you want, you can pause this to look at the specs. Pedals, looks like metal pedals, and they're labeled right and left on the bottom. Gold bell. And tools, that's weird. This little Allen key is all by itself, and then the rest of the tools are in here, along with a couple reflectors. But most of the time, I end up using my own tools anyways, at least these guys. The back fender is on here pretty tight, but luckily it is adjustable, so I'm gonna do just that. So if you look in here, there's a screw. There's one on each side. I'm gonna loosen that up and then lift this whole thing up.
don't know if I need it that high up. Maybe I can push it down just a little bit. I guess I can always readjust it later. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten that back down. Next, the handlebars. So I gotta move this to the front, and then I gotta tighten the screw down. And there's also a little screw here and one on the bottom, but on the other side. So I'm gonna tighten those as well. Oh yeah, not a fan of that quality pass sticker, so I'm gonna try removing it. Next, I'm going to take out these 4 screws. I've never seen the headlight attached to this part. That is unique. So now I can take the handlebars, making sure they're facing the correct way, and plop them onto here. Then this piece with the headlight goes back on, and I gotta put those 4 screws back. So the headlight, a little weeble wobbly. Well, on one side, you can stick in an Allen key, position the light where you want, and tighten it down. And then the light connects with these 2 cables right here. There's a bunch of plastic wrap on the battery, so I'm gonna take it out and then take the plastic off. So first, I gotta stick in the key, turn it, and that partially releases the battery. Over here, there's this little lever, twist it, hold the battery while you're doing it, and then it comes out. If you wanna take a look at those specs, 48 volt, 15 ampere hour, and it is Samsung. And it is the same batteries that I used to show in my previous content that is now sorta deleted. It's still there, it's just unlisted. At the top of the battery, there's a little power button. So I'm gonna go ahead and just turn that on now. So if you got the bike and you're wondering why it doesn't work, and then to put it back, I just slide it in there. It snaps into place. You don't even need to turn the little lever thing, because the lever thing is literally just to remove it. So it snaps into place, and then I turn the key, and that fully locks it in there. Now I'm gonna install the front wheel, but first I gotta remove this stuff here, including this piece. Once this piece is out, do not hit the brakes. And one thing I am gonna complain about is the way this bike is packaged. The stuff was loose in the box. So these you need to attach the front fender, and this is just kind of temporary to keep things straight, but it was right here. To put on the wheel, I'm gonna have to install this quick release. It looks dinky, but trust me, this is not what's holding the weight of the bike. So I got that removed. I'm gonna remove this spring and then keep it in the same order or the same direction when I put it back on. But before I install it, I'm gonna skewer the wheel with it because a lot of times there's a little bit of gunk at the end here. So let's see if anything pops out. There's always gunk. So how I like to do this. First, I'm gonna position the rotor the correct way. And by the way, this is a lot easier with 2 people, but this is how I do it when I'm all alone. So I just grab the bike right here and roll the wheel on. Now I'm gonna take my quick release, put it through this side. I don't know if it matters what side I stick it through. Next goes the spring onto the other side. You're really not gonna be able to see this unless I zoom in on it, right? Just like that. Then this cap, and I'm gonna screw it down. So with a quick release, you really gotta fiddle around with it. And I always clamp this up like this and never down, as in not this direction, because if it gets like hooked on something, that would be a bad thing. So I'm gonna tighten this to the point where there's not like a crazy amount of resistance, but some resistance. Maybe a little more than that. To install the fender, I'm gonna remove this screw. So then the fender just slides in like this, and you can mount this before you put on the front wheel, but I usually do it after. The screw goes back. Putting that screw back in is much easier if you just turn the wheel like this. That way you can actually reach it. The fender also attaches down here, and the screws for that are already in here, or at the bottom of the box. And to tighten this, I do need a wrench to hold that nut, and I can tighten this, but I don't think I'm gonna tighten it all the way because I still gotta mount this on the other side, and I fear if I do it too tight, I'm gonna have a hard time getting the other one on.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. I just did the other one. Okay, so now I got the other one on. I can tighten this all the way down.
The pedals are labeled right and left on the bottom.
The right one screws in clockwise.
And you're definitely gonna want more than just your fingers for that. And then the left one screws in counterclockwise.